To another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, as always, Chad Portal. Joining me is Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
Good, man.
He is the glorious one. We are doing this thing. Two quick notes. Next week's show is going to start getting a little funky. After we get done running through the news, we're going to switch over to a brand new show. I haven't worked out the name yet. I'm going to throw you the first idea I have. Lucha Look Back.
Nice.
I love me some alliteration. Basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to look back at Lucha Underground, which is free on Tubi.tv or Tubi.com, one of those, right? Just Google Tubi. It's there for free, so like we're going to watch some free wrestling. And what we're going to do is every other week we're going to record two episode reviews and then put them out on YouTube after one another, one per week. And so we're going to be doing that, and then every so often we're going to be taking a break from the review and talking more about how we feel about the product up until that point. I think there was 4 seasons, so we're going to go through all 4 of them. So we're going to look back. I haven't seen the last season yet, so...
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got kind of turned off when most of the talent left.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got the that's actually the feeling of the first half of the season because I don't think they really find any sort of footing off of that until like midway. But I can understand if you checked out.
Wasn't the 3rd season that Dario Cueto Cup?
Yeah, I think it was. And then
That's
the
going
full.
to be
I
hard to
mean,
get through.
it wasn't a completed roster too. They had to switch locations.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that. So we're gonna go through each episode by episode, and then we're gonna do kind of a little recap after every 12 or so. So keep an eye out for that. We're also gonna start reviewing Impact again. I don't know what Zach's schedule is gonna look like here for the foreseeable future, and I want to start getting regular content out again. So making an Impact's gonna return as a subsidiary of the Wrestling Underground podcast. Basically, what we're gonna do is once we're done with the Twitch stream, I'm gonna hack it all up, delete the Twitch stream, and then post everything to YouTube. So, I mean, the Twitch videos only last for 2 weeks anyway before they're automatically deleted. So, I feel like I'm not really robbing anyone of anything. So, this way we can spend 2 hours recording everything we need for the week. I can chop it up and distribute it as needed. And yes, so we're back to work. Now, Marcus, you don't necessarily have to join the Making an Impact side of things. If you don't watch it, that's fine. I can run through it in 10 minutes or less. But if you want to be a part of it, obviously, we're going to be doing it at the same time. You are more than welcome to join me. I just didn't want you to feel overwhelmed by having to watch even more dumb shit in your week than you already do. Because believe me,
Yeah,
if you're anything like me, there's a lot of dumb shit we watch.
yeah, man, I'm right there with you. But Impact is has been a plus of the even though it doesn't necessarily get the shine it deserves. Of course, that's the proverbial position it has to take. But I mean, Impact's been great, man. So you know, I'll be there.
All right, so we're going to start that next week. We'll probably do the regular rundown to start the show. Then we'll do Making an Impact. Then we'll finish up with the 2 episodes of Lucha Underground. So if you're listening live, you get to hear this all at the same time. If you're not listening live, gonna have to wait until they're up on YouTube. So, incentive to tune in live. All right. With that being said, let's talk about real fast. We're not gonna get into it. It's heck in the pen day. We're talking about WWE's most recent pay-per-view offering, which wasn't great. I feel so bad for guys like Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. They're finally getting the chance to headline in this dumbass company, and it's unwatchable. And like
Yeah,
we know what they're capable of, Marcus. We've seen them in Impact. I'm not a big Drew guy, but we know
mm,
that they're good. Like we know that they can carry a show to a degree in Drew's case. So like this is all dumb. Like this is all fucking dumb. And I need to be that guy for a second. Like listen, I'm not against older wrestlers being in the main event scene, but when you think about the WWE, Bobby Lashley's turning 45 this year, and they really have no other main stars. Like who John Cena's 43, maybe 42. He's up there. He's around the same age.
mm.
You know, Seth Rollins is starting to push 40. I don't think people realize that. He's no longer the young gun that he used to be. What is Seth Rollins? He's 35. You know, you got Kevin Owens, I think, is 38. 37. He's close. Sami Zayn's got to be at least 36. Yup. You know, these young guys who've never. Cesaro's 40. I know that for a fact. Old man. He'll be 41 this year. These quote unquote young guys are finally getting their break, and they're all getting to that age in their career where their bodies are going to start breaking down. And as great as Bobby looks, he has slowed down. You know, he's 45 for crying out loud. Obviously, he's going to slow down. But at a certain point, you need to ask yourself, where's the next crop of young stars? Because they don't have any. Like Reigns is the only one they got who's like not 36. And even I think he's even starting to get up there too. So hang on, where is he? Roman Reigns. Oh no, he is 36. I stand corrected. They have no quote unquote young stars. Oh, that's great. Well, what is Bianca Belair? 28, 32. Damn. I am being shocked by the age of some of these individuals. Bailey's 32. What's Alexa Bliss? She can't be 30 yet, can she? 29. She'll be 30 this year. Shayna Baszler's 40. Like, Jesus Christ, this roster's old.
Unfortunately, some of the pervs in the community, I can only imagine what they want her age to be.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so gross. Natty is 39. Mandy Rose is 30. I remember when they're like, yeah, Chris Masters is 20 and Kenny Dykstra 19. What Paige was 19. Like where did all the young talent go? And you can't even say NXT because Karrion Kross is like 36.
Yeah. Remember when Orton was 20, like 24?
Ah, yes. 1922. Karrion Kross will be 36 this year. Fucking hell. This roster is so old and so inexperienced.
Yeah, and yet there's still possibilities of Goldberg returning at any given time.
I'm fine with that because at least people will be pissed and I'll be able to laugh at their anger. I just want to see him donkey kick someone right in the head.
Just like you're pissed off because he's there. I'm pissed off because the company's there.
Right? So yeah, the old young roster or the young old roster. I mean, think about this. A lot of these guys are only in their mid 30s, but they've been wrestling for 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. It's
You mentioned Natty. I was like, it feels like she's been there longer than her actual age.
right. She's only 39, but she's been there 42 years. All right, so the only person under 29 years old on the Hell in a Cell card was Rhea Ripley. That is awful. How are you doing this? Well, I think Reginald might be under 30. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page for me to check. Drew's 36. Dana Brooks 32. God, this roster got old fast. Got old and it didn't get any more popular. That's like the worst thing you want. It's like leaving a thing of wine out without the cork. Yeah, it's aging, but it also went bad.
Okay, damn, Naya's 37. Okay.
Right?
Wait a minute, how old's Tamina? Because I know
40.
Yeah,
43.
Yeah, 43, yeah.
So she's married to a guy named Brandon Palomalu, and the first thing I thought of is that Troy Palomalu's brother?
Yeah, I was talking about that. Like, was married to Brandon Palomalu. So that's interesting.
That's funny. So yeah, this is an old roster, and it's no surprise that Vince is having a hard time getting anything from it, mostly because his brain is decrepit.
Yeah, and it's kind of easy for the age to sneak up on you when most of them have been wasting away in catering.
Some of them are older than the cheese and catering.
Like, how long did they have Naomi in her 20s? And they, come on, man.
Oh, I don't even want to ask. So many of these talents, man, were just. Ugh. Well, at least they're doing something now, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, this was a bad show. I heard nothing good about it. I think, and here's the thing, like, so many people have so many complaints about the WWE product right now. It's repetitive. It's boring. It's uninteresting. The Alexa Bliss stuff is just dumb. But here's the thing: we've been saying this for a decade,
Mm.
and that's only because we started doing this a decade ago. Vince is always booked like this. I can't believe. Excuse me. I can't believe people are actually now like, oh my god, I can't believe he's books like this. He's been doing it for 15, 20 fucking years. He still has the mindset that he's on the goddamn 80s touring circuit where nobody knew who was facing off with who. So, yeah, it's dumb. It's stupid. This company sucks and I hate it.
Yeah, and it's the veil is no longer there for him to be pulling legitimate Montreal screw jobs anymore. So you know,
I think the funniest part is like so many people have like looked back at the WWE propaganda and just completely soured on them as a whole, which is
well,
good. Like,
ano-
because fuck them.
and another thing that's killing him too, specifically Vince's reputation, these damn dark side of the rings.
Yeah.
Apparently, and maybe I'll catch it this weekend. Apparently, a China documentary dropped,
Oof.
and you just apparently just everybody just dropped the ball around her. So Triple H did not get any good press off that, obviously, but yeah,
Yeah, that was a whole that was a whole thing. I may not watch it because I've always kind of kept up with that story, and I don't
yeah,
think there's anything in that documentary that I haven't heard before. But just from what I know, it has not been like a
yeah.
lot of people failed her. But it wasn't just her, because at
Hmm.
the same time, Sean Waltman was going through the same things. The only difference is Sean Waltman got to the other side of it, while Johnny Lawler did not. So it's really sad that it's taken all this time for light to be flashed on the treatment of these individuals. It's just kind of fucked up, and the fact that no one is calling for Vince's head in a more public fashion is kind of it's gross. I hate it. If we had like Dan Patrick size or Colin Cowherd size show numbers, that'd be the only thing I'd be doing every day, calling for the heads of Dana White and Vince McMahon on a regular basis. But let's talk about something good. Slammiversary. It's around the corner. We have a new match. So here's what we had so far. We got Kenny Omega v. Sami Callihan for the world title. We got Saban versus Moose. I'm sure, Marcus, you're a little disappointed because we both thought Moose would be in the main event at Slammiversary, but I got to admit, I'm excited about this match. I think Saban and Moose are going to have a banger of a match, and I can't wait. And then just recently added an Ultimate X match that will feature Josh Alexander defending his X Division Championship versus Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, Rohit Raju, and PT Williams. I'm excited for this. PT Pump's back. Love it. Trey's getting some good coverage. Ace Austin is back in the scene. Bay and Rohit are also guys that I think, given time, can really make something in the X Division beyond what they've already done. So Alexander is going to be on this big kick, this RVD like push. I can't think of a better name in the division to carry a push like that than Alexander at the moment. You and I both think he has world title potential.
Yeah.
How excited are you for the X Division Ultimate X match?
No, man, I love it because you remember back in those days when they were kind of they was hell into selling it
Mm-hmm.
the match. It seemed like they was trying to put it on every pay per view. I mean, hell, I think it put it on a few impacts
Mm-hmm.
on the regular, and it was somebody brought it up like you watering down a cornerstone of the company, not just that division. So the fact that they've actually waited a while to put some dust on it so you could brush it off and bring it back when it counts. And you got this talent, like the division has never been hotter, obviously, and I like just how consistency all these guys have been like, no, I'm gonna keep coming back till I get the title, like Rohit and obviously Bay has, had world title shots as well, but primarily he's in the X, and obviously Austin has been obsessed. So all the competition is great. Obviously having Petey, the legend, in there is phenomenal. And I love that Josh Alexander wants all the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the Poppers, but Alexander really wants like all the smoke. He said, until you get that damn title back off Kenny, I'm the head kahuna around here. This is the main title. I don't want to hear anybody want any type of problem. You send them in me. So I'm very much looking forward to that because essentially let's see, that's gonna be his first X uh match, Bay's, uh,
Let me see.
and Trey, right?
No, Trey, I think was in the
Maybe I'm thinking about Rohit.
Homecoming.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking about Rohit.
Let's see. Because the Homecoming Ultimate X match was the last Ultimate X match I remember. I just forgot that they actually list the Ultimate X's. There's been 49 Hell in a Cells. There's been 44 Ultimate X's. So, Marcus, you aren't wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So, Homecoming, Rich Swann, Ethan Page, Jake Christ, and Trey Miguel. At United We Stand, Johnny Impact, Ace Austin, Dante Fox, Jake Christ, and Pat Buck. So, Alexander, Chris Bay. I don't see Rohit Raju in any of the other ones. So 3 new guys. I don't
Yeah.
even need to look it up. I know Petey Williams was in one. I think it was either Turning Point '04 or Final Resolution '05. Because I think he lost, or maybe he defeated AJ Styles. Let me double check.
Yeah. If Petey's not been in one, that's a weird piece of history.
No, Petey was in one. He was in the 6th one. He lost the X Division title to AJ Styles at Final Resolution '05. Saban, of course, was in the first one. It would have been nice to see Saban in this one, but I have to imagine Petey was also in the 3rd one as well. I have to imagine Saban was asked, and he's like, wait, what are my options? Ultimate X, where I can destroy both my knees at the same time. That doesn't sound fun. Or Moose, 300 pounds of angry dude. Can I have the weekend? So I'm excited for this. It's gonna be a fun little show. I'm optimistic that it lives up to my expectations. Now, here's the interesting thing: we still have a lot of names not on the show yet. James Storm. We don't know what the Knockouts Championship is gonna look like. So this could definitely be a fun little romp. Plus all the names, like we got a bunch
Yeah.
of free agents that are gonna be popping up as well. So
Yeah, I'm surprised. They haven't put Morrissey in a handicap match with Swan and Swan and Mac at this point. 'Cause
I don't think I want that. Like, I wouldn't mind a tag match with Morrissey and a partner and Swan and Mac. But Swan and Mac, I think, are too important to the company to feed to one guy. I don't have a problem with Morrissey going off on people, but like Swan's a former world champion and Mac, former X Division guy. Like, you don't need to bury them both at the same time to put over Morrissey. That's kind of my thought.
Yeah, I don't
So
know. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know how'd have that match go if I'd have them because I definitely wouldn't be a squash because both of them can bang, but Morris has been a different type of beast. I don't know if they just have it to where they piss him off so much that he get disqualified on purpose or something do like that to protect. Obviously, like you said, you don't want to squash him, but he don't necessarily need to be taking an L right now unless it's come across somebody big like Moose, which that'll be a hell of a collision.
I'd like to see that. No, I think Morrissey can go over them, but if you do a handicap match where Morrissey wins, like that just screams to me a squash. Like you're 2 dudes, a former X Division champion in both men and a former world champion in Swan, and you lose to Morrissey 1-on-2. Like I don't like that. I don't like that. Now you can do the thing that Big Show did at the '99 Survivor Series, where like Morrissey gets partnered with somebody that he doesn't want, and Morrissey uses the other guy as like a deterrent or like as a way to avoid getting 2-on-1'd. But that would be kind of my thought process. Like, don't let Morrissey do a handicap match. Like, put him in a tag match with them, sure, but not a handicap match. I just think that would be
Now,
a bit
like
rough.
now, about is how can we rope Swinger into this?
Perfect. That's Morrissey's tag team partner, Swinger. Like he can open up the match, he can do his little swing daddy stuff, and get his face kicked in, and then bam. I think that'd be a lot of fun. All right, let's see. Next up on the docket, Michael. So apparently WWE's like, hey, you, I don't like your boyfriend. You say, I forget how Skater Boy goes. They're apparently thinking about bringing back Raw Roulette, King of the Ring, and a smorgasbord of other potential show types. Let's see. It was Old School Raw, Cyber Sunday, King of the Ring, and Raw Roulette are the names being thrown out there. And all I gotta say is, yeah, those will put butts in seats.
Now you're just trying to do your nostalgia hurting, because at that point it's like, oh, they're going old school Raw, they going old school SmackDown, they gonna bring back the fist. Oh, they just made it a graphic. Yeah. Um, yeah, they just throwing stuff at the wall, see what stick at this point. They actually sound like they bored with themselves.
And see, here's the thing. That should be the tip. Like, if your girl is sitting here saying we should try a threesome, what she's saying is you ain't enough for me. If your fans are telling you we want old school Raw or SmackDown, what they're saying is the new shit sucks, homie. We want the old stuff. So instead of sitting here going, well, we need to figure out a way to bring back. No, what you need to do is find a way to bring back the vibe that those shows had. And that means actually going back and going, what worked for this show? It's like, so here's the one-to-one. Do you remember when, and maybe not, because like I'm a bit older than you. Not a bit, but a little bit. Coke changed their recipe on their Coke. It was called New Coke. Do you remember this or have you heard of this?
Yeah, I remember that.
So New Coke was a thing. And basically what it was, they changed their formula and everyone hated it. So they're like, whoa. Our bad. The intern put in a little extra of the good stuff. Our bad. And they changed it. Well, the WWE has pretty much changed everything they were since 2007, and their ratings have fallen. But they've stupidly, almost repugnantly, decided that they weren't going to change themselves to cater to the audience because they'll like what we tell them to like. Think about that mindset. Think about it. The company's trying to tell the fans what they should like. And they're surprised that people are turning off the product. It's the only entertainment industry, it's the only product-based industry I know of that routinely tells the fans that we don't like you. So, I don't know, maybe figure out how to go back to the way things worked and, I don't know, new management.
That's hilarious. Like, you're gonna take what we give you and shut up and like it, but we're gonna do a show concept where you get to vote on what we want you to. That is hilarious. Well,
Think about it, though. Their quote-unquote vote is, all right, so what would you like? The rice cake, the stabbing of the fork, or your mother being slaughtered? I'll take the rice cake. Oh, fans vote!
oh,
Like, that's what it is. Like there's no real fucking... there's no realness to these votes. Are you kidding me? Everything's rigged. Either they augment the actual votes,
yeah,
or they set up such an insanely stupid scenario where you're like, yes, obviously that's the one I'm going with. Why wouldn't I? Like, come on.
yeah. It's a weird thing, man. And even to your point, like getting the vibe, like even if they try to get the vibe back with the show aesthetic and the overall feel, you still got crap characters. It'll be like putting Stallone in Carl Urban's Dread movie.
Okay, Marcus, that's the greatest idea you've ever had.
Knew you'd say that.
I don't know who was more hammy in that, so that's Solano or Armand Desante. I will say this: that Dread movie, that Judge Dread movie, not the Dread movie, Judge Dread movie. That giant robot, fucking cool as shit. Practical effects and everything. I loved it. It's so cool. I was sitting there like a little kid going, oh my god, giant robot kills. I love it. 10-year-old Chad was a weird dude. I mean, 34-year-old Chad ain't any better, I'm just saying. Marcus, King of the Ring, are you excited about the potential return of a tournament for wrestlers with no character?
Hell no. Last Aaron Snorgan.
Oh my god, that was funny. Hell no. Didn't even let me finish. I love it.
Put Batman and Robin on repeat. I will all day. I know. Are you kidding me? No.
Listen, I've figured out the issue with Batman and Robin. It's George Clooney. He plays Batman the same no matter how he looks. That's the
Yeah.
issue. If you had brought back Val Kilmer, I don't think Batman and Robin would be as hated as it was. Like it captured the '60s campness of the show perfectly.
Yeah.
Sing, sing, sing. I'm Mr. White Christmas. I'm Mr. Snow.
Grab the ice. Kill the heroes.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. All right,
I
calm
want to
down.
call. Chicks dig the cut. This is why Superman works alone.
All right. Great line delivery there, George. But like, can we get Val Kilmer back, or better yet, Michael Keaton?
People hate. I hate when they do the Batman lineups on Twitter. This is your favorite Batman, and they leave Kilmer out. Clooney is a industry wide understandable. Like even like worldwide, he's understood as the one we always leave out.
Yeah.
But Kilmer severely underrated. He never get his credit.
Kilmer had this bouncy ego as Bruce Wayne, especially like when he was talking to Enigma in the Wayne factory, which is right over a giant porthole for some reason. I don't fucking Gotham's weird. Like he was almost kind of arrogant in the way he dismissed Enigma. Like that was great. And then as Batman, he's just like, I have no emotions. Like I like that. Like that was a great portrayal.
So good.
I mean, better than whatever George Clooney did. George Clooney just played fucking Danny Ocean as Batman.
Dog it. 20. I ever made much money. You don't have it. I borrow.
Apart from you. It's a utility. No, what was it? That's a utility belt, not an ATM or something like that.
That's a utility belt, not a money belt, dick.
That's what it was. I'll say George Clooney and Bane. Those were the two biggest issues.
Yeah, and yeah, they just really toned down the commish. And if nothing else, you could look at Uma Thurman in that outfit forever long.
You know, Uma Thurman's just one of those women that doesn't do it for me. I get that everyone likes her, but I'm like, eh. I liked her. I liked her performance, but like, eh.
Yeah, she ain't do nothing for me either. Now they had freaking Vivica A. Fox in bubble wrap. Well, not bubble wrap, but some like raincoat plastic. And it's
That's right.
misbehaving. It just works.
Oh, what a great name. That's like James Bond Pussy Galore levels of just perfect naming.
Right there, right up there with morally corrupt.
Oh, that's a great one. Wasn't morally corrupt from Doom Patrol? Yes. Okay, I was right. Thank you. All right, let's talk about something real fun. We're doing our Lucha look back starting next week.
Yes, we will.
Famous B, who debuted, if I remember correctly, in the second season of Lucha Underground, and he was paired with what was her name, Molly Wowie or Holly Molly or something like that. She was just no, it was Holly Meowie or Meowie. She's a cat.
Fifth cousin of Johnny Tsunami.
Oh, and you know who Johnny Tsunami's grandfather is, right? Your soul is mine. Hey, Gimo, I killed Liu Kang today.
Still the greatest Shang Tsung, because God, that reboot was not it.
Yeah, I haven't seen the reboot yet, but all the people talking about it have said the same thing. It's bad. Although the Scorpion and Sub-Zero stuff, I'm told, is good.
Oh yeah, that's about it. That's yeah.
So Famous B was on the what show? The Andrew Thomas of Post Wrestling. It wasn't a podcast; it was an interview, I guess. That was a podcast. So when talking about old Lucha Underground, Famous B compared it to the original ECW. I don't think Famous B was in the original ECW, just for context. It was absolutely amazing. It was incredible. It was, it was nice. Not too big, not too small. Actually, it's not too small, not too big. I flipped it. It was there. It was where you kind of got that intimate feel, and once you jam-packed the fans in there, the balcony definitely made it feel unique. The roof on top of Dario Cueto's office and whatnot gave you the kind of extra, I guess you could say, spring to jump off of. Oh, and Helico. Make matches more interesting, but yeah, the unique places, the way you could get creative putting matches together definitely gave us an edge in terms of the setup, because we were able to do the kinds of things that places aren't able to do just because of the environment, things like that. So yeah, it was awesome. It kind of reminded me of the old ECW feel, that the ECW vibe. You know what I mean? It was very cool. So, hearing that, I was going to ask you like, oh yeah, do you? But I'm going to go in a completely different direction now because I'm thinking about it. Famous B brought up the roof. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let Angelico leap to death. Just jump. But when you think about it, Angelico became a star in Lucha Underground. Like, yeah, he was kind of big in Mexico. That's cool. But in the United States, AEW doesn't sign him unless he's in Lucha Underground. Pentagon. I don't want to say Ricochet because obviously Ricochet would have signed regardless. But you think of like some of the guys that made their name in that company. Willie Mack was in there for a while. Jeff Cobb was in there for a while. I don't think these guys get signed without Lucha Underground, so I have to ask, specifically with AEW, do you think a lot of these guys who were in Lucha Underground at one point are being done a disservice with the way they're being handled in other companies, considering that guys like Pentagon are just kind of part of the standard fare now?
Yeah, I do, but it almost feel mildly unfair because Lucha Underground was a completely different environment. Like it was a mix of so many different things, sci-fi, horror at points. Like I said, it was a TV show that featured wrestling in it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot more things to play with, certain elements that may be too much for wrestling or have to be dialed back or kind of pigeonholed in a certain way because of the straight up and down wrestling believability that you kind of just had a certain freedom with Lucha. The presentation was different. What those guys did. Um, yeah, it was just a unique environment, man. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like the more you kind of watch those guys outside of that environment, like I like Ricochet. The dig him, he's one of the best going. But it's like, and I will continue to say this. He was more charismatic when he wasn't talking.
Well, it's kind of like that old adage. How does it go? Better to let someone think you a fool
Then yeah,
than to
speaking
open your
remove all doubt.
mouth and remove all doubt.
Yeah,
So as long as Ricochet wasn't talking, we thought he had charisma. Oh, he's just brooding and silent. No, he's just really
not that.
bad at being, you know, out, you know, likable.
And I
Turns out
think, and I
Ricochet's not
think,
a likable guy.
and it's funny. I think for a lot of guys, and maybe him included, that feels like it's restricting. But to me, that pushed him in a more creative thing because he had to make his mannerism and his stuff that he thrives at, which is his movements, mean more, except
Mm-hmm.
outside the ring. So yeah, I mean, of course, he was aided by having Conan as his mouthpiece, which that would benefit most people. But
I think you touched on
yeah,
something there too, because Chelsea Green and TJP have said similar things about, like character wrestling. Now Chelsea spoke more about the character, but TJP spoke more about wearing the mask. But the general vibe with
yeah,
TJP was that wearing a mask allowed him to be more expressive because he was playing a character and not having to rely on himself. And
yeah,
Chelsea Green said similar things about just portraying a character. So I think maybe Ricochet is someone who needs to kind of have that mask to allow him to be someone different. Because I was thinking about adding this to the rundown, but one of the Iconics, the tinier one, what's her name?
it's Peyton
Peyton
Royce.
Royce.
Oh, yeah,
She spoke about saying that she was on. She did a conversation with Vince McMahon last summer, and Vince was trying to get to know her after the split of the Iconics to try to figure out what to do with her. So he asks her, like, what do you like to do when you're off? And she said something to the effect, like, I'm pretty boring. I like to just go home and enjoy my day off. and really not do much. And she's like, and she basically said like that's when I think he decided to fire me because I'm boring. But she's a fantastic character wrestler. I wouldn't say she's great in the ring. She's serviceable. She's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's her personality that the fans gravitated to. So I think more and more wrestlers need to start because like someone said something stupid once, and everyone ran with it. The most successful wrestlers are just themselves turned up to 11. I think it was Jim Ross or Vince McMahon. It was one of those dumbasses, and that's not even true. Like Stone Cold didn't get over because of his character. He got over because he was the right character. Stone Cold's a great talker, but like, what's his gimmick? He's a bald redneck who likes to drink. That worked in '97 and '98 and '99, but that wouldn't work today. Even if his character had never existed, it wouldn't work today. But you think about other guys like Hulk Hogan. He ain't a good guy, but he damn sure played a good one.
Yeah, I'm about to say a lot of times that's why I mean when we get stuff with actors, a lot of their best stuff have nothing to do with their actual personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing about the guy that plays Negan that's Negan that comes off as Negan. Negan's I don't even watch The Walking Dead and I heard about how much a notorious a-hole he was. So I think there's a complete detachment. For some guys, I think that works. Turning it up to 11. Like I think a good example of that is Big E.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Turning that up. But then I think somebody else like Undertaker, like he's not walking around like hanging out at funeral parlors and stuff. Like he's closer to the American badass than he is the dead man stuff. But the dead man stuff, that's a once in a lifetime character for it to last as long as it did. But I think going to your point about that was one of the key things that's killing you about a certain character in AEW. Pentagon Jr. thrives in that lucha environment because he went with all parts of that aesthetic, all parts of what made that place special. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was a part of the sci-fi element that evolved along with the show. Because, like I said, and we go obviously touch back on it, that first season, he was getting dog walked by Drago. Like he was losing consistently to Drago. Like that was a part of the storyline. He just kept taking L's, and then obviously had to go to the master and get his swag up and everything, and then he turned into a menace. But that is not what we get now. He's just another guy that looks cool, and that's disappointing because you got them in a completely different environment that thrived on that madness. Now him breaking somebody's arm is like it's damn near an arm drag at this point.
Yeah, and the thing was like the breaking of the arm was done so much better in Lucha Underground, not because of anything specific that was being done in terms of like how you take it or how you sell it, but it was how they emphasized it. Someone got their arm broken by Pentagon, they weren't on TV next week. I
Exactly.
can't imagine how many times we've seen a guy in AEW get his arm snapped by Pentagon, and 2 weeks later he's there without a cast on. So, I forget what I was watching. I think it was something about Hell in a Cell, and I don't remember why I was watching it. Oh, it was Russell Talk video. That's why, because I thought it was gonna be something completely different. He was noting that when Shayna Baszler came up to face Alexa Bliss at the event, that she just came out normally, and he's like, the whole Alexa Bliss is scary and everyone's supposed to be afraid of her. Like that immersion's broken when Shayna Baszler doesn't sell it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. You need to be able to sell. You need to be able to embrace characters. You need to be able to put your ego aside. And I think too many times wrestlers don't realize that. That's why
Yeah,
guys like Johnny Swinger, who are almost 50, have as much left in the tank as he does because of the fact that people will tune in just to see his character. We're not going to see a 5-star Johnny Swinger match. We don't care about a 5-star Johnny Swinger match. We're good. Like we're fine. Like give us characters. We'll show up for characters.
yeah, it's weird, man. Like, and I think that's what's missing most. That we're talking about it. That's what I miss most about Lucha Underground. Like, even with all the mania and outlandish stuff that got did, you just if you a real fan, like you committed and appreciated the ambiance
Mm-hmm.
that they set up, and I think that's what a lot of that's what's the disconnect is. A lot of those guys that transition with those same characters just to other brands, it just doesn't work because they don't. It's not the same ambiance.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole thing with they needed to keep a certain you know type of mystique when it came to that Fiend character, and he just let it go. Just let it go. He just became a sweaty looking hillbilly in a like a, you know, well done mask or whatever. But that was it. You let the arm and go through all that to make him work, and the girl comes out of it uh better than he was, and now that's kind of going away because like you said, she's coming out normal, and you know some things she's selling, some stuff she's not, and she's beating Shayna Baszler of all people, who debuted on the main roster biting a chick's ear.
Yep.
Say what the freak are you people doing? You have no commitments to anything.
It's hard to be afraid of a guy like Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, when the most duplicitous thing that he's done is be a bad father and husband. Oh, he's so evil. No, he's kind of just an asshole. Speaking
uh,
of assholes, GCW had an event that was so violent, at least in the main event, between Nick Gage and Mance Warner, that 8 police officers showed up thinking there was a legitimate fight going on. This happened at the GCW Outlaw Mud Show. When was this? On Saturday, this past Saturday, the 19th, Juneteenth. So apparently, Joey Janela posted videos to his Twitter and explained that they were looking for Nick Gage regarding a concession stand brawl. Things reportedly got so out of control that the officers had no idea this was a staged fight. The cops were reportedly still not convinced that this was staged and continued to keep an eye out on the guys after the match. Janela said that they all went to a bar after the match and police were slowly driving to get a look at the men. GCW held the event in Laramie, Wyoming, the first time a wrestling event was held in the town. So I think Laramie, Wyoming is famous for being the one city that I think it was like 1992. A gay guy was killed and hung up on like a fence in Laramie, Wyoming. I think that's their claim to fame. So like, not exactly a great town to be visiting, at least historically speaking. I'm gonna Google this real fast. I want to be accurate. Yeah, Matthew Shepard, I was right. Oh no, wait, hang on. Yeah, I was right. Laramie. Okay. So anyway, Marcus, funny or not, cops not knowing pro wrestling is fake.
yeah, again, with that, I think that company aesthetic and Nick Gage just looking the way he does, and kind of going to a different level because he had a dark side of the ring too, and he takes that death match stuff and just that hardcore wrestling side of it to a completely different level. Um, so if certain lines get crossed, he'll probably will want to overcommit then pull back.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I get it. Like those that grunge setting, just the whole vibe, and because cops are not familiar, they probably really do think it's something going on. And like I said, it's not traditional wrestling by any means. So when you get there, you probably like, oh, this guy's bleeding, this guy's doing that, they're rolling around, they're really trying to hit each other. The realism is such that it sells to the believability of somebody who's like, okay, how long they been out here doing this? Okay, we got to Is this even legal for them? Like, I can understand how a cop could just go down a rabbit hole of WTF when they pull up there, which probably only made it more better for Cage, who's like, oh, we really, we really going now. So
It's both awesome and scary at the same time because like when I think about people who don't understand that pro wrestling is staged, I worry. Like, do you believe the Earth is only 2,000 years old? Like, what else do you believe? Do you believe we're flat? Like, I'm concerned. But on the other side, it's kind of still cool, right? Like, I think back to when Scott Steiner was in India with Rinka King, and he went into the crowd, and everyone like scattering like little children who are afraid of the big bad boogeyman. Like, that was great. I love that. But on the other side, people used to get
yeah,
stabbed because they didn't realize it was fake. So like, I don't know.
I do think it's interesting though that this incident would involve Nick Cage because he is that guy, and you probably have a better take on this story than I do. Even though I've seen it on Dark Side of the Ring, like he like um I was finna say Scott Bale, but not Scott Bale. Freaking the dude who won the WCW title, the celebrity.
David Arquette.
Yeah, David Arquette. He got in the ring with him, and he got a little bit more realer than David Arquette would have wanted. And he tried to shoot on Nick, and Nick was like, "If you don't calm your ass down, you're gonna have a real problem." And so Nick is just kind of one of those guys. Like I kind of would almost liken him to New Jack,
Very,
but I
very
guess
close. Very close.
yeah, maybe a little bit more pulled back on the homicidal potentiality of it. RP to that guy. But yeah. So it's when you said Nick Cage, I'm like, there's a bit of non-surprising irony here. But yeah. So
Yep. Watch out for Nick Gage. He'll stab you in the neck. Speaking of stabbing you, we're not going to be stabbing you in the back not this time around because Moose has officially signed a new deal. Well, I shouldn't say officially. Allegedly signed a new deal. I need to get my terminologies correct. Apparently, Fightful is saying that Moose has signed a new deal for 2 years, and he will be under contract until the summer of 2023. The contract is said to have been a significant improvement over his last deal, though we don't have details on the financial terms. We're told by the Impact side of things that Moose figures in their plans in a major way. So, Marcus, Moose sticking around, yay or nay?
absolutely, yeah, man. Like I said, we've been covering it this whole time, man. Like he is completely evolved, like his impact journey. And I hope they've documented in some way one day to do like a Moose thing. What they did, I think on didn't they do some on the Wolves once? It wasn't the
Mm-hmm.
Wolves. It was LAX.
Yes.
Um, to kind of document that journey of where he was and where he is now. Like he's in the best shape of his career. He's the best version of his character. Um, Definitely world champion material, and hopefully this contract extension, sees, through that time that he's actually able to get his hands on that title because that's what everything has been building to for me. So, but yeah, I think it's nice to see that loyalty because we've definitely seen a lot of, stepping stone guys, come through Impact and try to go elsewhere. So it's cool to see him stick around.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I'm starting to think that they're going to do Moose Callahan at Bound for Glory. That seems to be where things are going. I would be flabbergasted. Maybe not in a negative way, but I would be flabbergasted if Kenny Omega actually walks out of Slammiversary still a champion. It would kind of work because it would set Moose up for the rematch, Bound for Glory, maybe you do something big, but it would also coincidentally kind of bring up the Josh Alexander's the champion of Impact with the X Division title kind of storyline. So it would kind of serve two masters, so to speak. Um, it'll be interesting to see if that's what ends up happening at Slammiversary with Callahan and Omega, but only one way to find out. So let's see. That takes us to a little bit of unfortunate news, or maybe good news. I don't want to be disingenuous or facetious with the coverage of this story because it's a real problem, real thing. Michael Elgin had gone missing Monday, and people had become concerned for his life. Apparently, because he's going through a divorce. Excuse me. He's going through a divorce from his wife, former pro wrestler Mischief. Maybe it's already finalized. I don't know. He, of course, has been pretty much persona non grata since last summer's Speaking Out movement. He's having a hard time. Now, I don't feel bad for him because a lot of the issues that he's endured are of his own volition. But we always like to see the comeback story. Like, we're always open to people changing as long as it's authentic and honest. We don't want to be those people, on this show at least, who champion the downfall of a human being. Because at the end of the day, they're someone's father, sister, mother, child. They're somebody to someone. And that matters. But Elgin has having a hard time, and apparently he went off and disappeared for a few hours, and people became very afraid. Maria James was one of the first people to speak out about saying, for those who don't know, my missing friend is Aaron Frobel, better known as Big Mike or Michael Elgin. He's been missing since Monday afternoon, and if anyone knows where he may be, please contact me or his sponsor, Eric, at the number provided below. We were worried about him immensely, and any information would be greatly appreciated. We just want to bring him home safely. If anyone has seen him, reach out. Aaron Phobel, please contact me or Eric or someone and let us know you're safe. His sponsor, Eric, now I don't know what he's got a sponsor for. It might be alcohol, might be pain pills, might be whatever. The sponsor said, my name is Eric, and I'm a friend and sponsor of Aaron's, Michael Elgin. I don't want to cause too much alarm or worry anyone too greatly, but I've been helping Aaron through a lot of things lately, and yesterday he left a concerning message on Facebook and at his home. Myself and my wife have a spare key to check on him, and when going to see what was going on, we found his phone, but he was not at home. We have his phone, but his vehicle was not at home, so we hope he just went somewhere to clear his head. If anyone hears from him or sees him, please reach out. Fortunately, earlier today, around 3:30 in the afternoon, Michael Elgin was reported as being at home from Global Wrestling Syndicate. They tweeted out Elgin has been found and he's doing okay and is being taken home. Elgin had actually returned to wrestling this year with GSW, so it's a concerning story. Too often I think in our culture, Marcus, we celebrate the downfall of a human being, and we don't realize the magnitude that this actually takes on not just them, but on those that love that person. Now, sometimes, let's say a Harvey Weinstein, not going to see too many people shedding a tear. Can't think of anyone who actually was going to miss that guy. Same with Bill Cosby. Now, with Michael Elgin, he hasn't really been accused of the most heinous of heinousness, but he hasn't been exactly a good dude. And I don't know if his quote-unquote crimes warrants being as shunned as he is, but I would also argue that I don't think anything that happened to him, at least professionally, was unjustified. I think you need to pay the price for the sins you commit. I'm Catholic. Of course I think that. But I also think at the end of the day, you can come back from it if you're willing to put in the work. We always cite Mike Tyson. Dude was one of the most vile human beings in the 90s. Now he looks at his championship belts and like, it's trash. It doesn't matter. They're just things. And then he fought the Roy Jones. He's like, man, that was a lot of fun. I'm so happy that Roy decided to fight me because, man, I feel so good right now. I love competition. That's a really well-balanced, thoughtful, fully in control dude. So I think about this stuff, and I see this stuff, and I don't want Mike Elgin to die a heinous death. I don't want him to be miserable. I don't want him to be someone that is ostracized from his life. But I also want him to take ownership of his issues, work on them, improve on himself, and then come back in whatever form or facet he wants to as a better person. Because once you commit the issues, there's only two things you can do. Curl up into a ball and go, woe is me, I can't believe people are mad at me. Or you go, yeah, I've done fucked up, kid. Now it's time for me to step up and make things right. Elgin kind of went the first way. Now he needs to go the second way. Step up and make things right. I don't really have a topic point for you, Marcus, but if you have something you want to add to on this story, you may do so.
No, man, excellent points as always, man, and 100% agree. And yeah, we ain't exactly an Elgin fan club here, man, but we don't want to see. I mean, how many times we done had to hear stories like this that led to tragedy um, in wrestling. So,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, guys, people need to own up to their crap and be called out for it and have to deal with it with a measurable response that's equal to the offense. But I don't wish that type of dilemma on anybody. Everybody's going through something coming off this pandemic. A lot of people are still going through it. We just kind of coming out of it to the point now where they're putting out lotteries and money for people to get vaccinated, which is crazy. But yeah, it's just a desperate time for a lot of folks. A lot of people were struggling before it pandemic just made it worse, and everything's kind of just compiled up on itself. So I think that's something that kind of similarly happened to him because wrestling has probably been a great outlet um, for him through all the drama and whatnot. But I think for a lot of people, stuff just got compiled. Specifically, a lot of these people who got called out, and rightfully so. But yeah, I think a lot of people taking account of their mental health and stuff like that is worrisome. Like you said, he has a wife, he has a kid. If I, if I
Mm-hmm.
heard correctly.
Yeah, at least
So
one, maybe two.
Yeah, so I wouldn't, despite how I may feel about the crap that that father has done, wouldn't wish that on a kid either. Specifically potentially losing a parent in that way. So, like right there with you, I hope he's, school gets better. Cool to hear you as a sponsor and stuff like that. So he has people around him, but yeah, I hope he gets better in every sense of the word, not only with, his mentality towards stuff that he's done, but with, whatever mental stuff he's going through. We're not evil people. We don't want people to suffer for suffering's sake. So,
Here's hoping that everything works out well for him, as well as he deserves, because he still did some shit. I don't want him to suffer, but you gotta make things right, man. You gotta step up and start putting in the work. Speaking of putting in the work, Thunder Rose is pretty good. I would give her some advice. Chris Cyborg recently called her out for an MMA fight. Don't take that fight,
no,
sweetie.
no.
Don't take that fight.
What are they doing? Family Guy with the mate? No, 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 no.
No, 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 no. Yeah, don't do that, sweetie, baby, honey. No. Thunder Rosa is an MMA fighter. She's just not a very good one. I think she's 0-1. So yeah, yeah. Dude, don't. Secondly, apparently she came out and announced that her son is starting wrestling, starting training for pro wrestling. So me, like everyone else, going like 33. I don't want to know about your 6-year-old son starting training. Like that's wrong. No. Apparently the son's 15, turning 16. And yeah, I was like, wait, Thunder Rosa, who's 34 years old, has a 16-year-old son. Okay. I mean, biologically, it tracks. It makes sense. I just like it's one of those things you don't think about. Like she's a very young woman still. She's my age. Maybe I'm not that young anymore. I don't know. But like she's got a 16-year-old son who's going to start training to be a wrestler. What? Marcus, I am bamboozled and befuddled by this.
Yeah, man, it's funny because I feel like it's one of those scenarios where it's a Mysterio thing where like that's her kid, they're big as hell. um, yeah, but I'm baffled by this too. I didn't think she had kids. Of course, you got a professional and a personal. Like kudos to her for keeping this um personal. So, but that's cool, man. That's we seeing we like I said, speaking of Dominic Mysterio, we seen this happen with him and a lot of other wrestling uh kids, coming up and wanting to follow in the parents' footsteps. So we'll see what he'll do. Maybe with things as open as they are in AEW in terms of people having certain narratives or whatnot to come in, maybe he'll get a chance to wrestle in the intergender match against his mom. So
I think that'd be the first time that's ever happened.
yeah, or with his mom, who knows?
I think that'd be the
I
first
mean,
time that ever happened.
what you call his son is in there now. Um,
Arn Anderson.
Arn,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's not very good. Granted, he's been training for like what 8 weeks. But damn, like I saw that match, I'm like, oof. He's very timid with his movements, and like that's how you can always tell when someone has a lot of experience to go and a lot of room to grow, is when like they're kind of like unsure of how to move, and unsure of how to like throw punches. Like that to me is like when like the ultimate sign of yeah, you definitely don't have the thing right now that you need to make yourself look like a great fighter. Like watching him throw punches was like really hammy. I was like, oh man, like maybe it would have worked in the '70s, but like this it's a higher standard, my friend, a higher standard. Ah, jeez. All right. Any final thoughts on this week's show?
No, that's pretty much it. Thankfully, it's been a slow news week all around.
So next Tuesday, we're back technically with 3 shows in one. Check it out. We'll be doing some more wrestling posting now. We're gonna be back on Saturday with another podcast. Thinking about other ideas for bringing back not necessarily Comic Core, but just you and I doing more non-wrestling podcasts.
Yeah.
Still thinking about what we need to do with that, but we'll get there eventually. So for Marcus Green, I'm Chad Porter. You can find Marcus on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid. You can also find him on other podcasts. The True Penny Show at TruePennyShow. I cut you off, Marcus. You always have your little thing to do. Marcus, you can be found on Paradox Kid.
That's me.
There it is. I know if you're anything like me, like as soon as someone changes the pattern, you're like, like Beaker. By the by, I saw some videos that were just hilarious. It's the Muppets like doing like talk shows and shit, and they're like not Muppets, Sesame Street crew, and they're so not being PG.
Man, that's brilliant because I went back and watched this video of how that beef started between what's the name of the blue one with the hook nose?
Oh, Gonzo.
Gonzo and the blue restaurant guy.
The restaurant guy.
The guy that kept ordering stuff and Gonzo would get his order wrong.
He has like a blue head with like greenish, yellowish hair, but it's like balding hair.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know
And
his name, but I know who you're talking about.
kept working at all the places he was going to eat. That video, oh my god, man. The Muppets is classic pop culture, man. Classic.
It's fucking love it. Muppet Sesame Street, anything with a puppet, like yeah. All right, so yeah, realnerdcorp.com, REALNERDCORP.com. We're also on Twitter at NERDCORP and on Instagram at nope, I was about to say mine. You can find me on Twitter, Chad Nerdcorp, CHADNERDCORP, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. Marcus is again at Paradox Kid and on the True Penny Show on Twitter at True Penny Show on Twitter. For Marcus Green, I'm Chad Porter. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. We'll see you guys next Tuesday with a heap and help in wrestling. And as always, watch more wrestling. Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.